Although rested and refreshed from their time at Crickhollow, the Black Riders are still at large. In a desperate bid to remain undetected, the Hobbits resolved to enter the Old Forest. Passing through a secret tunnel, the four companions make their way deep into the dark forest, hoping to reach the distant Barrow-Downs and Bree beyond. But the Old Forest has a mind of its own. For centuries there have been tall tales spun by the Shire folk of shadowy inhabitants, of wrongness, and the very trees themselves have been seen to shift unnaturally. The four hobbits may soon find themselves in a very different sort of danger.
Hello and welcome to Striding Edge Games. We're your hosts. I'm Boris.
And I'm Julian.
And we're here with Mission 4 of Quest of the Ringbearer, the Old Forest. We're here, out of the Shire.
Yep.
Technically, just off the edge of it. The Hobbits.
Frodo and friends have managed to leave their home, county.
Yeah, we finally left the Shire after 5 missions, technically. Yeah, actually, this is technically mission number 5, but mission number 4 of the Quest of the Ringbearer book. So we have been through Buckland, Buckleberry Ferry. We had a surprise mission last mission, which if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, with the Wizard Jewel at Orthanc, which we took from the Fellowship Journey book back in the day. That was really a lot of fun with the... Oh no, excuse me, it was the White Dwarf mission, wasn't it?
Yes.
With the cards, a lot of fun.
And Saruman was victorious.
Well,
it was as he should be.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying off camera as well, actually, it has gone narratively every mission so far, as in the Hobbits lost Farmer Maggots and then have won every single mission since. I've yet to win one because I've been playing evil mostly.
So strictly speaking on this one, I mean, Old Man Willow takes out the Hobbits, so...
He does, but he's not on the board.
No, it's true, there is no Old Man Willow, which is a shame.
It's just regulars, so hey-ho, we'll see.
But moving on.
Moving on, yeah. So it's a bit of a strange mission, this. You might be able to see, but you'll see from the overview footage, it's only a 2 foot by 2 foot board, single tile of our board. The Hobbits only have to make it across the board and exit the other side. However, there are a plethora of trees in the way. And what do the trees do, Gillian?
The trees themselves are the evil models in this game. Evil in inverted commas.
Yeah, it does say participants evil none, technically. But
at the start of each turn, we're doing it based on, we'll roll a dice for priority and a dice for the number of trees. But at the start of each turn, D6 trees get to activate. The rules in the scenario are pretty vague about what this actually means. We're choosing to believe it means the tree models that we have on the board are trees.
Yeah.
There's one that's in a bush, so we're not allowing that one to move.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But the rest of them will move.
Yeah.
And the trees themselves move up to D6 inches.
Yes, all it says is D6 trees activate, and then the trees move D6 inches. Are you meant to have 6 trees that are your movable trees and all the others are scenery trees, or is it trees across the entire board? So we've gone with the latter.
Yeah.
Any tree on the board can activate, other than as you say, the one in the bush. And then, do you roll a d6 per tree to move them, or do you roll 1d6 and that is your flat roll for the entire movement? But then that seems very spiky because you roll 1 inch and 6 trees. You can move 6 trees 1 inch. Whoop-de-doo. So we've decided to go for a bit of a hybrid.
Yeah, so we're gonna, however many trees you get, we'll then take that many dice, roll those, and then from the results of, those 5 dice or 4 dice or whatever, you get to assign them to whichever tree you want.
So it's basically an action pool.
Yeah, it's like an action pool of tree movement.
You roll 5d6 if you've rolled a 5 for the activation number of trees. You roll a 5, a 4, 3, 2, and a 1. You can go, okay, this tree's only moving 1. This one's going to be my 5-inch move. This one's going to be blah, blah, blah. And that happens after the priority roll. So as a good player,
you might not know.
I'll know how many trees are activating, but I won't know how well they're moving, which will be, we think we've played it a couple times as a test bed, and it's been really varied. And I think this is the best way to, 1, make it quick enough that everyone won't fall asleep at home. And 2, interesting enough that there's still some strategy to the hobbits having to do heroic moves, because obviously evil side don't have any might. There's no heroes or characters or anything,
and it keeps the spikiness of the random sort of roll, but it doesn't go full sort of random spike.
So what the trees have a profile themselves, which is pretty simple. So technically they have a movement of 6, but they can only move up to it. Fight 2, strength 3, defense 3, attacks 1, 1 wound, 2 courage. And a tree, when they fight, if they lose the combat, they don't get killed, they back away 1, and then an additional inch for every wound they lose the fight by. So if all the hobbits get round and all the hobbits wound a tree, potentially we could send a tree 5 inches backwards, which would be pretty fun. But a lot of the time I think it's probably going to be 1 or 2 inches, but it gives you that extra bit of movement, which is pretty cool.
Weirdly it doesn't say that the trees have woodland creature that you would probably expect, but
the trees get slowed by their own tree terrain, maybe, who knows. But
and which is actually a note of, for the terrain, we're choosing pretty much to treat it as open.
I think so.
Obviously, we've got some bushes and things which will just be, they're blocking terrain, so the hobbits can't move through them. The trees can't move through them either.
The trees don't have a control zone either, so because some of them have quite big scenic bases, we're using the scenic base as the engagement lip, as it were, so the tree moves into base contact that way. But the hobbits can then run over the bases because there is no control zone. They can squeeze around them. It's basically a free-for-all.
But they can't move through the actual tree.
Yeah, they can't move through the trunk because some of them are quite chunky chunks. Chunky trunks, and they can't power through them. And climber as the hobbits.
The final thing is a bit like Farmer Maggot's Field. Nobody actually dies in this. The hobbits can't kill trees because that would be pretty
hack them down with their daggers.
Non-green. And the hobbits themselves, if the tree wins the duel and successfully wounds them, the hobbits instead are knocked unconscious, which is played as basically being under the effect of the paralyze magical power. Which, if you don't know, means you basically can't do anything, and you have to roll a 6 at the end of each turn. And you have to roll a dice at the end of each turn on which you need to get a 6 to wake up. But a friend can assist you. In fact, any number of friends can assist you, but they have to be in base contact with you and have not been in combat, I believe.
So I think it's a bit of a game of someone goes down and then you kind of pile around them to try and get them up and roll more dice, but then the trees are knocking them away and making the hobbits fall back. We have played this where hobbits just pop back up the turn they go down, and you get that lucky 6. And you played it where you're rolling 4 dice
for multiple
turns, and nothing happens, and it can be a bit nail biting. And it's a race to see if you can bring up the hobbits. We probably say victory conditions are really quite simple. The good side have to get all 4 hobbits off, so there is no leaving hobbits behind this time. So it means as soon as one is paralysed, that's a really big drain on your movement, because you have to stop to get them up. And then evil win if all 4 hobbits are unconscious, which I think can happen quite quickly, quicker than you think it might.
Could happen, yeah. It also doesn't explicitly say, but we figure there is a possibility of a draw in this particular scenario, but that would be weird.
Potentially. If 2 hobbits go down and then 2 are able to move off the board, say, then there are no more. The hobbits have escaped, but then technically all the hobbits on the board are unconscious, but not all of the hobbits were unconscious, so would we call that a draw and no one got a bonus?
So if we have a repeat of the Buckleberry Ferry situation, if Sam and Frodo run for their lives...
I won't leave the hobbits behind. This callous person did. Speaking of, because the hobbits won the Buckleberry Ferry mission, their bonus to this scenario is they are moving on 3 inches. They start, 3 inches on the board rather than in base contact with the western board edge, I believe it is. And they move across. We are playing for bonus to the next scenario, which we'll reveal later. I think that's pretty much it. Predictions? How do you think this is going to go?
I mean, from when we've played this a couple of times, it's deceptively simple for the hobbits, and you feel like they can get quite far. But then the trees, if you get past that tipping point, say you get 2 unconscious hobbits, sometimes it's kind of like the remaining hobbits are like treading water.
Yeah,
and,
it's kind of. I think it's almost like 1 is manageable.
Yeah.
1 hobbit down is manageable. 2 is disastrous. It goes from manageable to disastrous pretty quick, and then 3 hobbits down is basically like you might not come back from this.
Yeah, it's all down to the randomness of how many trees are active and how far they're moving.
Yeah.
So I think. I don't know. I reckon the hobbits might win.
But it might be a bit tough.
But it could be a hard one.
I might burn quite a few might points on this to heroic move, I think, because being able to get ahead of the trees and not tagged into combat would be really big in some turns. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Probably prattled on for long enough. So we'll have a quick overview of the board, and then we'll go into turn 1 of the Old Forest. Start of turn 1, and the hobbits have deployed just on the edge of the board here, spaced them out a little bit. Good priority in first turn because it's a narrative scenario, so we'll go straight into rolling to see how many trees activate.
And 2 whole trees.
All right, and that is where the hobbits have moved up, just 4 inches, pushing forward, and now we're going on to the trees.
So, as we explained for the trees, we're going to roll the number of dice for the number of trees we've got. So 2 trees, 2 dice. Oh, it's a 5 and a 6 for these. So we're going to move them and then get back to you. So that's where our 2 trees have moved on. They're both tagging Frodo for a little 2-on-1 action. We're going to go straight into combat here. I'll lead off with the 2 trees.
Let's go bad real quick.
1 and a 3, that's not great.
3 high, we'll just explain quickly, the Fangorn dice are the evil trees, as we felt that was fitting, and to keep thematic, the Fellowship are Gondorian dice, as they also have a tree and are good aligned. So, Frodo's dual roll, a 5, fantastic, so he backs away those 2 trees. Strength 2, defense 3, so 5s. All out the tray? No, a 1, but he does fight off 2 trees.
We're straight into priority for the next round here, so we're going to roll 1 dice for the tree priority and the blue dice for the number of trees.
3 for priority, 4 trees activating, and the Fellowship roll a 2, so it goes to the trees. And after the priority roll, we have decided to spend a point of might with Samwise Gamgee. I didn't fancy being stuck only a few inches on the board, sort of around there. So we've moved up. We're almost halfway across the board with that heroic move, which is great. However, that's one of our 4 points of might gone on in our stores completely. So now we'll go into the dice roll to see how far the trees are moving. So you want to roll your dice?
So 4 dice for our 4 trees. That's not a great roll. We've got 1 and 2 2s and a 5. So we'll move the trees and then get back to you for the combats. And the end of the tree movement. What we've done here is the 3 that were close to the hobbits have sort of moved in. 1's tagged Merry and 2 have gone on to Pippin. And with the extra move, we moved one of our trees to kind of get into a blocking position preemptively and delay the hobbits from moving further. Now we're into some tree on hobbit action. We'll start with the 2 trees versus Pippin.
Yeah, poor old Pippin. So he has 1 dice. Or rolls a big 6.
So the trees can't beat that because they only have fight 2 and the hobbits all have fight 3.
There we go. Mighty hobbit warriors will strike one of the trees. Another 6.
Wow.
He wounds him. So he backs away 2 trees and one of them backs away 2 inches.
Or choose which one you prefer to move to.
Can Merry repeat his cousin's success in combat? We'll roll Merry first. A 5. It's good. Can it beat?
Oh, yeah.
Can beat a 2. So Merry, 5 to wound again. No, not quite. But that is survived combat. That's great.
With that anticlimactic combat, we're back onto the priority roll. So the trees are on, a 3 with 2 trees, and good.
The hobbits are 5, so it is a hobbit move. That's excellent. And this is where the hobbits have moved to, so we're solidly about halfway across the board, which is fantastic. Grouping up again, we're just trying to protect the Ringbearer in the centre there and hope that we're not charged by too many trees. So we, again, onto the tree movement rolls.
All right, and our 2 trees are moving 5 and 4.
Well, that's pretty good. All right, let's see where they go.
All right, and the trees haven't been rolling particularly well on the number of trees, which means that the hobbits have kind of a clear space ahead of them. I wanted to bring more trees in, but didn't roll amazingly on movement. So we've brought one from the side to engage Sam, and a second tree from behind is just tagging Pippin again. Also, just a quick note on Sam is that we've been playing this with, he can still call his free heroic if Frodo is engaged, but because you can never actually kill a tree, he won't successfully complete it. So we'll go straight into combat now.
Only combat we have is one tree on Pippin and one tree on Sam. We will start with Pippin, 1-on-1. So Pippin rolls a 3 and the tree, a 5. Oh dear, so there's no might to do this, so Pippin does get pushed back.
Our trees are strength 3, which means that they're actually on 4s against the Hobbits. So it's a 2.
Not quite. All right, straight into the combat against Sam. Sam rolls a mighty 6. There we go.
Sam's got it.
And can Sam wound the tree on a 5? He can't, especially not on a 1. But we survived without any more paralysis. That's excellent news. Straight into priority, there's nothing else to do. The Hobbits roll a 6. Can they be beaten?
And for the trees, we've got a 5 and a 5.
Oh.
So Hobbit priority, but we've got a few more trees in action.
And after the priority, the Hobbits have moved. We've decided to zig and zag diagonally, so we've gone from that centre sort of bush, and we decided to move a little bit more out this way onto this side of the board because it's a little clearer. The trees on the other side are sort of closing in, so we've made a dash for it, but not directly towards the board, but hopefully we can stay together and in a group. All that we need, we've got 5 trees activating this turn, so let's see how far they move this turn.
Okay, so... Oh, that's more decent. We've got 3 4s, a 6 and a 3.
Very nice. Let's see where they end up.
And the trees leaf him to action. We've got 2 trees onto Pippin and 1 on each other of the Hobbits. Maybe we might be able to bring someone down here. Here's hoping. We're going to go into the combats now and see how we do.
Into combat after the dastardly trees sprung their trap, and we'll start with Frodo, as I think it'll give us the best opportunity to avoid being trapped. However, single attack, so 1-on-1, Frodo rolls, ooh, a big 6.
Oh, he's got the 6, and the tree rolled a 1 anyway.
Okay.
Frodo wins.
Frodo wins, and 5 to wound. No, rolls a 1 to wound. Go on to Sam next, as he has a point of might that we might be able to use for the fight if need be. So Sam rolls, ooh, 1. And a 5 with the tree. Nothing we can do there, so Sam luckily is able to back away.
Now our tree is looking for a 4. Oh, and makes it on a 6 up.
Okay, well Sam loses a wound. He hasn't lost his last wound, thankfully, so he's down to 1 wound. We may as well throw a point of fate at it. He's got 2. Okay, he survives, so he's down a point of fate, but still 2 wounds. We'll go on to Pippin next, as Frodo is able to make way. We're trying to avoid traps here. So single dice from Pippin. Oh no, Pippin.
Oh, yep. The trees win it.
Nothing you can do there, so we are able to make way with Frodo.
So there's still 2 attacks coming into Pippin, so we're looking for 4s here. Oh, we get 1.
Okay, his single wound and single point of fate. Can Pippin stay up? He can on a 6. Brave little Took, but he is now out of fate. That's really unfortunate. Finally, Merry. Single 1-on-1. He rolls a 4. It's good, but is it good enough? Oh, it is just because he wins with his fight value, mighty fight value 3. And then needs a 5 to wound. No, doesn't wound, but we have escaped that round of combat by the skin of our teeth. There are 2 Hobbits with 1 less fate, and Pippin is now fateless. So this could turn nasty real quick. And at the end of the turn, we'll go straight on to priority. The Hobbits are surrounded by trees, so it's all going to come down to how many trees activate. Good rolls for their priority. A 2, it's not great. Evil.
So Evil gets a 6 on the priority, but only a single tree is working this turn.
After that priority, we have decided to call a heroic move with Frodo, so he is down a point of might as well. We only have 2 left on the board, but we'll move now as it lets us get further up towards the escape. And after that heroic move, we are motoring up the board. Frodo has just been boxed in by his companions, and we are not too far away from the edge of the board now. However, we have the movement from the trees roll.
We've got 1 dice, so 1 tree is going to move 4 inches.
Plenty of options there.
Okay, so our single tree is continuing to keep that pressure on Pippin. He's spent a point of fate, so he's vulnerable now. We're onto the combats right away. The tree is going to roll. Oh, 1, that's great.
Oh, no, but Pippin, a 3. Okay, he just survives again by the skin of his teeth. Can he wound the tree? He can't on a 1, but we survive 1 more turn. After that single combat, straight into priority roll, and could be a big one. Evil go for their trees and their priority roll.
So for the trees, well, we get 3 trees and we've got priority 6.
Priority 6. Do we need to spend a point of might? We might do with a 1. We'll have a look at what trees can move and then see if we get a heroic move. Thinking it over, we have decided to spend Sam's last point of might on a heroic move, so we were able to escape from that clutch of trees just over there, and we are now within a spitting distance of the edge of the board. Sam is down to 0 might, and we only have 1 left on Frodo, but hopefully our luck will hold, and we're going to be able to survive 1 more round of combat with the trees, and then escape in the next couple of turns. However, we have the tree movement to roll up, so we have 3 trees activating.
So we get a 6, a 2 and a 5 for the trees there.
Really good overall. Let's see where they move.
And for our movement here, we've put this 1 tree that's been waiting in the corner, has tagged onto Pippin, with a 2nd tree also bullying the poor hobbit. And finally, with our 6, we moved up one of the trees that was lagging behind. It's tagged both Merry and Frodo, as we're just trying to tax out some of those heroic resources. And we'll see how we do in combat, which we're on to now. So for the combats here, unfortunately, we haven't managed to trap any of the hobbits. We'll start with Frodo and Merry versus a single tree.
Yep, decided not to call him heroics. I do have a point of might on Frodo, but we probably need to keep it. So
2 dice.
We have 2 dice. So Merry with no might rolls a 5, and Frodo with a might point rolls a 1.
All right, we're looking for a 6 on the tree here. Come on, baby. No.
That's the opposite of what you need, unfortunately. Oh well. So Frodo and Merry strike. Nothing on a 3 and a 1, so just backs the tree away.
Next up, we've got 2 trees versus the poor bullied Pippin.
Poor Took. Let's see what the trees have to beat. A 4, it's good, but is it good enough? It's not.
Unfortunately not.
On a double 5, so no might, nothing to do. Pippin backs away. And could this be the first paralysed hobbit right at the finish line? Single 4 on 2 dice.
Oh, we've got him twice.
Paralysed twice. So Pippin goes down to the magic of the Old Forest. As Pippin is paralysed, Frodo and Sam are both in base contact, but you do have to spend the entire fight phase doing nothing and in base contact. So Frodo can't help as he fought a tree, so it's just Sam and Pippin. We have 2 dice then. We need a 6 on one of them to get up and get off this board. There we go, big 6. We managed to wake Pippin back up. That's huge. And with that 6, we're straight into priority. We'll have see how many trees are waking up and what the priority rolls are. So the good side rolls a big 1, and the evil side rolls a 3, it's enough, and 2 trees are activating. Having lost priority, we had to spend Frodo's last point of might. He called with me, and that is just enough movement to be able to get off the board with all 4 hobbits this turn. So that means the hobbits do manage to escape the Old Forest. And there we have it. The hobbits escaped. Not like the book, technically, but maybe Old Man Willow is just waiting just off the board.
Yeah, he's just up ahead.
He's just up ahead to knock them unconscious. How did you feel that went?
I think it was basically as predicted. It's a very swingy kind of
super swingy
thing.
Yeah.
I didn't roll very well on the numbers of trees, and I also didn't roll very well on priority either. So
I think the number, from memory, the turns you got high numbers of trees, you got quite low movement.
Yeah.
And then the opposite, the flip, a couple times you got 1 or 2 trees, and they were moving 5 or 6 inches, which is great. But the hobbits also did pretty well in combat. I don't think I wounded, or maybe one.
Yeah,
I wounded
I
once.
think it would be. There was quite a few times when you just rolled a 6. I think 3 or 4 times in combat you rolled a 6.
Yeah.
And then the trees, because they've got fight 2, you're done.
Yeah. But that's that's how it's going to be flipped for in the ring race. The ring race roll a 6 in that combat.
Yeah, we did think actually halfway through we should have tweaked it perhaps that the tree player just gets to roll 2 dice. And you pick 1 to be your priority roll and 1 to be the number of trees, which would be kind of more interesting.
That might add some interesting flex into the mission that sometimes you want loads of trees and you're not bothered about how far you move particularly. And then sometimes you really want priority to make them spend the might, or if they're out of might, get that first move and lock them in. It's kind of a fun tweak. Maybe if you guys play it at home, play it as the book reads and then play it again. It doesn't take very long, a 2x2 board. Although saying that, again, we've played 2 test missions before this. I think we played it once ages ago when we first looking at Quest, and then we played it recently. And the first time it was such a slog. It took hours in game, in real life. And
but I think we then kind of realised, I think the first time we played it so the hobbits just couldn't move through the base of a tree.
Possibly, yes.
Which meant that the trees could just kind of build a wall, and then you
box them in, and then you were
stuck.
You were buggered. You had to sort of knock them out of the way, and that's really hard to do on that 5 up to wound. Every hobbit's only got 1 attack. Really rough. You can't really ever trap a tree. It'd be strange. But yeah, and then the second time we played it most recently, the hobbits all got quite close to the edge, and then they all went down. It snowballed. 1 got paralysed, and then the next turn a couple more got paralysed, and then as soon as it's 1 hobbit on their own, you're kind of done for. We were joking maybe Frodo could put the ring on to try and then just stand next to a hobbit to try and get them up.
Well, hopefully he wouldn't be charged, because the trees only have courage 2.
Yeah.
So,
but then you might on a 1 or 2, the evil player moves Frodo so he could move them out of base contact, and then he couldn't be getting the extra. It's a whole thing. But maybe it would be interesting.
So a win for the good side. They've snuck through. Just quite pleased with the trees. Did manage to actually get some of the stats out.
Yeah.
I think Sam actually he's probably going to get D3 back, but he might not get everything back, which would be great. He spent 3 resources, as it were. So 2 might. So he's out of might and 1 of his fate. So he's down to 1 fate. Yeah.
Surviving that. Pippin's also out of fate. And Frodo's down out of might, so he's down 2 might. So we had to spend 6 resources, out, as it were, that whole mission. However, we now have the recovery rolls, which actually do impact, because next mission, Fog on the Barrow-Downs, spoilers, is going to be quite rough, I reckon.
Could be.
And we're going to need a lot of our resources. So this will actually be, beforehand, they've either been a rest point straight up, or it's not been particularly, a huge recovery roll. So this will actually be quite important. So this will be interesting. So starting with, as the evil player, we discussed the evil player has sort of an equal vote in Bravest Companion and Fool of a Took. Mm-hmm. Any contenders for Bravest Companion from your point of view?
I think it was definitely Pippin. I mean, he was just getting beaten on by trees.
Being bullied, wasn't he?
And he did pretty well. I mean,
he only went down right at the end and then got right back up again.
Yeah.
And that was a huge moment, I think, because if he'd stayed down, which I expected him to, you can't leave him. I don't think you can anyway. I think you could be a bit cheesy and say the other 3 run off and then it's a draw. But I reckon you can't leave them. You have to get all 4 off. So the other 3 would have been there for ages trying to just get them back up. Yeah, it's just the thing. So I would agree.
And with the way the rule works with paralysed as well, I mean, you probably would get all the other 3 in combat unless you kind of shield it out. So Pippin might just be rolling a single dice to get that 6.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So he's only missing 1 fate, but he gets a D6 recovery roll, which he can re-roll thanks to winning the good side winning the mission. He gets a 6. Brilliant. Pippin he really is a boss this turn. It's so. Pippin,
fortunately, he does not get extra characteristics.
Unfortunately, not. So he's back up to 1 fate, and that's it. So Fool of a Took. I don't think anyone is a huge contender.
I mean, we had a quick look, and the rules do specifically say for the Bravest Companion, you pick a model, but for the Fall of the Took, it says pick a model, if any.
Yeah.
And I don't think, even as the evil player, that anyone was particularly kind of doing something stupid.
No, I think Merry did okay. Frodo and Sam did fine.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, both of them spending characteristics just shows that they were working hard, right?
Yeah, they did their job. Sam took a wound but saved it with fate, which I don't think is particularly foolish. So I think we'll just leave it. So straight onto the recovery roll. So Sam needs to recover 3 things.
So Sam's on D3.
Oh,
He's got a 1.
Got a 1.
You do get a reroll.
okay. Come on, Gondorian reroll. Okay. He rolls a 4, so he gets 2 statistics back. So I think I'm going to give him a fate back and 1 point of might. So Sam's starting the next game and point of might down.
Yeah.
Which could be quite a big deal. Frodo, 2 might gone, so he needs 2 on his thing. We rolled a 4 again, so Frodo gets back up to full starting resources. So the end of things, it's not too bad, but we have lost a point of might on Sam. So
yeah.
a quarter of our might.
And well, we can see what difference that makes when we get on to our next mission.
Yeah.
Which is the fog on the Barrow-Downs.
Absolutely. Some proper scary enemies now coming up. How are you feeling about playing some Barrow Wights? Spooky.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting to use some magic, I think.
Yeah. Me too. Spoilers.
I don't know. I don't even remember if Gildor did any, because I don't think it came up.
Not sure.
Anyway.
Either way.
We'll see you in the next mission, I think.
Yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. It really helps out our little channel. We're trying to produce these videos for you at excellent quality. As good as we can possibly do it. It takes a lot of time and effort. So if you could spare some time, that would be amazing. And as Julian said, we will see you in the next mission, Fog on the Barrow-Downs.